VODs, what is VOD?
VODs, man. Oh.
Hello, welcome
guys.
back.
Back for another week of interviews. Here we are.
Nathaniel and Preston and Nathaniel, however you want to go. Today we are going to be joined by Purdue, but first a couple reminders schedule-wise. As you can tell, we are not streaming RMUL today.
Unfortunately, yes.
There's been another delay in China due to COVID safety precautions, so we're glad everyone's staying safe.
We'll try and keep you guys updated on when we will do RMUL.
Yeah, you know the whole spiel, right? It's 2 years of everyone saying the same thing to you. Oh, it's a delay. We got to push stuff back. There's COVID. Don't die. It's important. Stay safe. In the meantime, we're going to be interviewing more teams. We've got Purdue this week. I think we're talking to RHIT next week,
Yep,
which is exciting. A little bit of spoiler alerts. We've got some things in the works to talk to Italy, maybe Japan, maybe Singapore, maybe Australia. So if you're interested in talking to those other teams that are rounding out our NA region and kind of helping us become the international regionals that would be really cool to be, those are coming up. So get hyped in the chat, and we're about 2 months away from the competition.
Dude, I am so hyped for this competition. I've been
It's
waiting.
It's great. Every time we interview teams and we're getting closer and closer, we're starting to see some more real robots, some finished CAD. It's quite nice. So very exciting. Well, without any further ado, let's hop right in and meet the people from Purdue today.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. How's it going? Y'all good?
Can you
good?
hear us?
Hi, everyone.
Max, Steven, Evan? All right, cool.
Over here.
All right, cool. We got everyone. So, I guess go ahead and introduce yourselves. I know we have name tags for you, but go ahead and introduce yourself and what your role is on the team. We'll start with Evan.
Hi. Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Evan. So I'm graduate student from Purdue Mechanical Engineering. So I'm studying some fluid dynamics and advanced manufacturing. Actually, I started this club when I was sophomore at Purdue. So I finished my undergrad study and then I went to grad school, still at Purdue.
You've been in this for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I've been here for
I
5
respect the grind, Evan. So Evan and I, unknowingly, actually have pretty similar RoboMaster histories. So I'm also in grad school for mechanical engineering now, and still working with the team, and kind of weaning my involvement each semester. But that's great to hear. It's really exciting to meet other students that have enjoyed RoboMaster so much in the undergrad that it's worth your time. After you graduate.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Evan. Keep going. You're good.
Okay, yeah, I think we can switch to Louis. So
Yeah, Lewis. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Louis. I am a junior in CS, and I am currently the algorithm team lead. And I joined this club during my freshman year, so that's for 2019. And then I went through the whole of our club getting Thanos snapped away by COVID.
Yeah, fall of 2019 is a rough time to join the club.
That's when I joined. Tamu's team, and man, everything was going great, and then 2020 hit, and just like you said, Thanos snapped.
Yeah.
Bad.
So now we're starting the club back again with Evan and Max, which is actually pretty great.
Nice.
Things are
So,
actually going pretty well compared to my expectations.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's above y'all's expectations right now. And then I guess Max, go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do for the team.
Hi, so I'm Max. I'm a freshman at Purdue. I arrived on campus last fall, and I'm the current project manager for our team. And so I joined the team. I'm the most junior member of the three, but also the most senior member out of the rest of the team. But I came to Purdue knowing about this competition.
Heck
So
yeah!
that's why.
That's good.
Yeah, so I was one of the members who, because when I came to campus, the team wasn't active already because, as Lewis said, we got Thanos snapped away. But I knew about the teams already, so I was coming with the expectation to join, and so I had to email a lot of people, and then that's when they directed me to Evan, and that's how we met, and then how everything really got kickstarted, and And really, that's how I got to meet Evan and eventually Lewis and eventually forming the rest of the team over the course of
all
last
right.
semester.
So, I mean, Max, that's really exciting. Also, I assume that you emailed A&M and were like, hey, I see your amazing RoboMasters team. I definitely want to go there. And then, they were probably just like, oh, sorry, Preston is filling every need that we have. We don't need any more members. So then you went to Purdue instead. But hey, it's a great second option. I kid. But that's awesome. So Max, I want to dig into that a little bit. Chat, get hyped. Let's see some emojis, some pog champs. You don't understand how hard all of the teams in NA have been working to make that thing that you've explained a reality. In the leadership meetings, in the NA leadership meetings that happened in 2018 and such, that was always the goal. So when did you first hear about RoboMasters?
I was actually a junior in high school when I saw a Verge video, probably the same Verge video that you guys might have
I've
used
seen that
in
Verge video,
recruitment. So there's only two. There's a Verge video and then there's the Bloomberg video by Ashley Vance. And then so the guy who wrote Elon Musk's biography. So I did my research, and so I was wondering like, why is this famous journalist going to China to report on this competition? And then I looked into it. I was like, wow, this is some really interesting stuff. And I'm a photographer, and I use like DJI drones. They're amazing. They're
Yeah,
amazing
they're
pieces of
fantastic.
technology. And and I've seen the impact of how the Phantom lineup like impacted the photography industry, basically paving the way for most aerial photography. And I was like, man, if I can really be a part of this would be really cool. And so when I came to campus, I was like, I'm going to join Robotics, and that's actually part of the reason why I chose Purdue is because we had a Robotics team, and also because the California schools didn't want me. So I was like, so I'm out for vengeance. And so when I joined, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna form a team here, and like maybe I
Heck
can join
yeah.
something, and maybe
Heck yeah.
maybe go back and kick some ass.
All right, so
back home,
we'll
but,
we'll make a note
We're
for the UCSD Purdue
shade-
grudge match
Shade
coming
for
up.
UCSD. I'll keep that.
Thanks
in
for the
mind.
rejection.
There we go.
But,
Yeah, you'll have to print out your rejection email from UCSD and like put it on the side of your robot as one of your decals.
Hey Calvin, you hear that? You hear that, bud?
No, that's great. That's phenomenal. That is the dream for RoboMasters NA as a region. One thing
Especially-
I know Yibo's working on like as his full-time job now is helping get RoboMasters into the middle schools and high schools. A lot of the teams I know VT just did a middle school and high school event with the S1s.
Yep.
I think A&M just went to the local high schools.
Went to a local high school, showcased some of our own robots, and then S1s, the core
Yeah.
S1s. They had a blast
Yeah.
looking at all the different
Yeah, I talked
robots.
with Ibo about this. We just have two Robomaster EP arrived today.
Yeah.
So after
Awesome.
we will also do the similar program as you guys did.
Heck
before.
yeah, because that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it grows, right? I can produce as much content as I can handle, and we can make our event as hype as possible, and that will help the sport grow slowly. But the reality is, as soon as the universities that we're a part of realize that it has recruiting power, boom, that's where the money comes. That's where the money comes. At A&M, that's when we saw the switch. Year one, I'm sure we're about to talk to Evan about his experience year one. But year one, we had no money. It was like no funding. It was rough. But as soon as the tours of freshmen, prospective students started going through the FEDC, and they all wanted to see our robots, the A&M approached us and said, "Hey, can we use your robots like for recruiting?" And we said yes. We started doing events, and that's when they were willing to give us space. They were willing to give us some money. COVID squashed. They wanted to put us in a TV show for PBS. Like, that's the goal. So if you're watching this live with us right now, if you're in chat, or if you're watching the VOD and you're on a team that's struggling or that's new, that right there that happened to Max, that's what you have to replicate and then show your school. As soon as your school sees that, they will throw support at you. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
I kind of want to dive into that. So you guys were a team back in 2018, and even like went to RMUC. And I think we have a good photo of
Heck
that.
yeah. Let's
So that's
let's start there.
That's a full lineup right there. That's a
1, 2,
Sentry,
3,
3
4,
standard,
5, 6, 7.
engineer, and hero. Like that's your lineup.
Yeah, this I think this picture is from 2019.
Oh, 2019.
Uh,
All right.
Yeah, 2018 we only had 4 robots. We could not prepare too many robots. We didn't have too many, as you get. We didn't have enough money to make all the
Yeah,
robots.
it's
We
expensive.
just brought 2 robots, 2 standard robots, 1 hero, 1 engineering in 2018. The engineering robot was not complete, but we just brought it to there. But when the time got go to the 2019, we got enough money. Yeah, similar as Texas A&M, we got enough money. We could build those 6 robots.
Yeah, so we've got some questions coming in from the chat. So in 2019, Purdue was there. A&M was in China at this same year. This was our first year at RMUC. To the person asking if we're not struggling now, when we went to that RMUC, just like Evan saying, it was our first year, so we only showed up with 4 robots maybe, and it's tough. And we got squashed. I think we beat 1 team. We had 1 match where we won. It was a lot of fun. Still an incredible experience, as I'm sure.
Oh, Preston.
Yeah.
If you pay attention, the bottom left is Evan.
Oh, bottom left is Evan.
There we go.
I was there. So I had a story about the Texas A&M. I'm not sure if you guys know Zemo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zemo.
Yeah. I talked with him in 2018. I asked him to build a team in Texas A&M.
Whoa.
I told him, yeah, I think I went to the competition in China in 2018. After the competition, I met Zemo. Since I was also admitted by Texas A&M, I just joined we had a group chat, which includes all the Chinese students. I met him when I was freshman. After that, I just went to Purdue, but he went to Texas A&M. Then I connect with him in 2018. I told him I had a Robomaster team at Purdue. Why don't you just build a team in Texas A&M? I can give you some help. That's why he went back to Texas A&M. I think he probably also found some help at school and built the team.
We're going back to commentator views. We're not even going to look at the robots yet. Evan,
Yeah.
you are the man behind the curtain in my life.
Robomaster's lore. Like, you helped form our team.
Hey, that's super cool. So 2019, I was like the 5th person on A&M's team. So after you spoke to Zemo and he started the team, he started it with like Long and a couple of other of his friends, Parush, Radika. I'm gonna forget a bunch of names, but several of his close friends. And I was in a lab with William, who had joined the team that first semester. Why are you coughing through the window? I apologize. My wife is coughing through our window. So Zemo, right? That's how I joined the team. That's how A&M's team got started. We had several times in that first year when RoboMasters was struggling at A&M, Zemo would be like, "Oh, I reached out to some friends and like got some help," and like sometimes it would be Zemo had crazy connections in China. The man is networked out of his mind. So sometimes it would come from DJI. Sometimes apparently it would come from Evan. I knew it was coming from somewhere.
I shipped some motors to
yes, yeah. We got motors. We got flywheels. It's crazy to meet you. I had no idea because I was just I was far down the chain. I was the standard team member first semester, and then second semester the robot wasn't done and everyone had to leave for the summer. So they said, "Preston, you're the team lead now. Build the robot." So I would just ask Zemo, I'd be like, "Hey, we need some stuff," and he would just make it appear. So that's super cool. Absolutely incredible.
Wow. That is...
Quick question. So am I learning that Evan's the godfather of your team?
Yeah.
It's looking like it.
10 out of 10. Hey, someone A&M chat. I think Steven's on our team.
Steven and Jeremy are here.
Is Jeremy on here? In Tamu Discord, someone at Zemo. He's still in the Discord. Give him a little at. See if he'll tune into the stream. I'm not sure what time it is where he is right now, but get him to tune in and see if he won't throw some comments in the chat for us. We might have to pull him in an interview later, but that's just
for a long
crazy.
time I haven't contact with Zemo, but yeah, I discussed with him before.
Yeah.
He said he just left.
Yeah.
He has already graduated.
New memory
Yeah.
unlocked. Wow.
That's
Good
super
to know
cool.
you guys. Probably in the future we can collaborate together again.
Yeah, that'd be
Share,
great.
technical opinion, technical review in the
Yeah.
future.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just my mind is blown. Super super cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Cause like that first year was such a struggle, and all of the new teams know the first year is always a struggle. So people like Evan, and luckily now we have this wonderful thriving community Discord to help. And lots of teams I know. We talked to UT and they got their motors this year from VT and stuff, and so that network is there. Y'all don't understand how hard those founders went. Like Evan and Zemo, all of those early team members, a lot of UW, a lot of VT. We can't forget them. They were some of the earliest teams in NA. Some of the Canadian teams, Queens. McMaster Car, really set this network up just out of their own pocket, out of their own time. Zemo freaking paid for most of A&M's team out of his pocket with Long. They just, it was crazy.
They definitely cash
It was
flowed.
absolutely crazy.
That was crazy. That was
So,
crazy.
super cool. Well, Evan, thank you. It's cool to get to meet you, and to thank you in person. So, 2019 China was awesome. It was a wonderful experience. The arena was insane. Let me see if I can just pull this down. This background is actually not 2019.
That's
this is 2018 or 17 or 16.
That's 2016.
16. You can tell from the center mostly. But the arena that in is huge. The commentators are super professional. You're behind one-way glass. It's just fully decked out amazingness. So Purdue went from this, right, which is a great experience. Y'all did pretty well that year. Not like phenomenal. It's NA, okay? Just like in league, when we say we did well, it didn't mean we made it to finals. But y'all showed up with 7 robots, right? And you did pretty good. Compared to teams like A&M. And then talk me through kind of the transition. So I asked y'all for pictures of your team, and I got this massive picture on the left, and I got this tiny picture on the right. Lead us through this.
So yeah, what
Yeah.
happened for the transition here?
Yeah, I guess
Lewis, you can tell it.
Yeah, I'm probably the best one to tell the story. So what happened in spring 2020 is that when COVID hit, basically every single sub-team has to either transition to online or just stop their activity entirely. And for me, I was in the computer vision team, now the algorithm team. So I think our team was the only team that successfully transitioned to a online workflow. The mechanical team, they have to use our design center with all of our tools, and I think that the center was shut down because of restrictions. So we no longer have access to any of our stuff, and so that also coincided with a huge leadership changes. So at around that time, I think Evan graduated his undergraduate at that time. Kevin, who was our electrical team lead, who designed all of the PCB, also graduated, I think, around
He's in the top right
spring.
of the picture. Top right of the picture and then Evan's in the top bottom left.
Yeah. So there's a lot of leadership graduating, and because of COVID, either they don't have a transition plan, or they just didn't have the time to transition to a next leadership, to transfer all of the knowledge to the next leadership.
Yeah.
So basically at the end of the semester, the only active team is the computer vision team. So that's kind of like the end of that chapter, like the end of that generation. There was also an issue where
Steven
people
from chat
from-
needs a little bit of hope
Yeah.
as we get to the end of this chapter. He wants to know how many members you have now.
But we'll answer that when we get to after. Let Lewis finish the story first. It's quite exciting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Steven,
so-
apparently you have to live in the misery moment. So we're going with 0. Live in the misery. Here we go. Keep going, Lewis.
it was a miserable time because like aside from like the leadership graduating, COVID hitting, there was also like a problem with how our team was set up because the team leads are too good at what they do. So uh, I think Kevin is our previous electrical team lead who now works at Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
He designed all of the PCB and all of the entirety of our electrical system. Uh, Evan, who's right here right now, I think he was the mechanical lead, and did you design all of the robots?
Yes, I
Evan?
designed all
No.
robots.
Yeah.
In the future,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
open source
And-
all
in,
everything.
in Lewis's words, I think what didn't you have a saying like basically all the members were gods, like the founding members.
So because the founding members are too good at what they do. Oh right. Also, William, who also just wrote the entirety of the computer vision algorithm, including the tracking and the communication protocol. So these people are insane, and because they are too good, there's not much for the rest of the member to do, and their people quickly lost interest when
Yeah.
COVID hit.
Yeah.
That was a
So-
big problem. That was a big
so-
problem. Right
so-
now, Max is helping us to dealing with
We are fixing
problem.
this problem
Yeah.
right now.
Delegation
So-
is difficult.
Like keep going on
There's a
to the
resonating.
timeline. So
Let's pause. Let's
Uh,
pause. Time out, Lewis. So,
okay.
yeah, let's just. Most of the people that watch these interviews, if not all, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say all of the people that watch these interviews so far, are pretty familiar with RoboMasters and are almost exclusively on a RoboMasters team. So this point that you brought up is super important to just reiterate once. It's something that I am really passionate about, and our team has done a great job of recently. A team that's full of engineers building really cool robots. It's sometimes difficult to focus on the like managerial and like the teaching side of it, right? And so because like y'all are saying or Evan's saying, and when you're really good at designing the robot, it's really fun to go and design the robot. But you need to be working with those younger members to grow them up in the club, so that you have that foundation, because you know it has a natural end, whether that's graduation, even without COVID, when those members leave, or if they have internships and so they leave and they're not able to come to the competition. If you're in one of those newer teams or even those older teams, Purdue was an established team when this problem popped up. This is not like, oh, it was their first year, they only had 2 good people. Oh no, like that's just something to be aware of as a team. Nathaniel getting
Let's just say
freaking
that
called
let's
out.
just say that the problem. Let's just say the problem was big enough where it caused our entire team to collapse.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is. I think let's say that I am starting a new team from now. With this knowledge, I would probably be more concerned about the resilience of our team members than I'm concerned about the technical knowledge of the
Yeah,
team.
It's
So,
definitely. I know I struggled with this during 2020. It's just trying to do the delegation of the tasks, and then trusting people to fulfill that level of like what you need. It brings out a whole different level of trust in you that you don't know how to do.
And
It's-
RoboMasters was a lot less fun for everyone during COVID.
This is
Building a robot is a lot less fun remotely. Coding a
That is
robot
very
is a lot
true.
less fun remotely. Competing is a lot less fun when there's not a competition, right? Like, so before we throw everyone, all of your team under the bus and be like, oh, like they just didn't manage it well, like the team collapsed. All of the teams, we had many leadership meetings focused on how do we retain members, how do we keep this interesting? Because like our software testing was just me in the garage with a Discord going to our software team lead and him remotely controlling my computer. I guess it was Zoom, doing remote control on my computer to just test code in my garage. That's not fun for anybody. He didn't get to do anything with the robot. I was just sitting in the garage watching him code, which is super boring. And none of his team got to see any of the fruits of their labors for like 6 months. That was a tough time. If you're one of the newer teams, you picked a great time to hop in. If you're one of the older teams, thanks for sticking it out. It was tough.
you're still here.
You're still here. All right, so
Lewis, where do we live, Lewis?
Yeah, so I think we left off at the darkest of the time where COVID just hit and everything is. I wouldn't even say it's Thanos that, because Thanos at least left half of whatever
At least left
left
half of
away.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically like the active members left is just me and William, who was the previous CV lead, who delayed his graduation because of some reason. So yeah, it's just the two of us and another active member who is also graduating. So by that time, I have decided that it's probably a good idea to work on some sort of smaller scale project. And for me, my interest is in the CBAI field, so I thought that the AI competition is a perfect fit. So I tried to start a RoboMaster AI team during the I think it is spring 2021. But at that time, a lot of the students are still remote, and I myself is also fully remote. So things just didn't line up, and people quickly lost interest. But luckily, uh, this school year, the start of this school year, 2021 fall, uh, Evan reached out to me, and then Max also reached out to me about the AI team. And since I am also one of the only the surviving member left in the pre-old team, so we decided to
Yeah.
collectively start a new organization or restart the old one.
I'm glad
Yeah,
y'all
the
got it.
story will just go to Max. But before Max
Yeah.
talking, I just want to say why I was not there. Yeah, so Louis Louis' story doesn't include me. Since since after the competition in 2019, we thought this competition was too hard for the universities in North America. I'm not sure whether Texas A&M had the same issue. We need to brought all of our robots to China at that time, right? Uh, we disassembled all the robots into
Yep.
the part.
Uh-huh.
After we assemble that on campus, we need to disassemble them and then bring them to China and then reassemble them. And in this situation, it was very difficult to make sure all the robots are functional.
Right.
After the competition in 2019, we were all very upset about this.
Okay, so
yeah.
two things. One, yes, that was a very real problem. In this whole COVID and how it affected RoboMasters, our robots were stuck for almost a year in our design center. Because we put them away and then we went on spring break.
And we never came back.
And then we never came back, and it never reopened, and we literally couldn't get to any of our hardware for almost a year. Also, Evan, the chat is demanding a cat review. So if you could grab your cat, if he's like one of those cats you can grab.
I can see your cat sitting in the background.
What's that mean?
Your mouse
Oh,
keyboard.
you mean my cat? I saw you.
Yeah, a cat
about,
reveal.
I saw you.
People just want to see your cat.
Their cat just revealed.
Oh,
a
CAD reveal. No, none of the chat is asking for the robots. They all want to see the
I love
the
this
kids.
cat.
Actually, I have two
Yes,
cats.
the cat.
All right.
I have two cats.
So start us over. Let's get some introductions. What's the cat's name?
Yeah, his name is Mochi. He's
Mochi,
a
okay.
ragdoll. Yeah, so he is almost 1 year old. So he is
Aw,
around.
I love
Yeah,
this
he's right now 10 months old.
Oh, very
Yeah,
cute.
so
He does look like a ragdoll kitty.
This cat has was actually I don't when I first joined the team. So okay, so I guess I can
It's a
start
team
talking
cat.
about well, okay, so I joined freshman year fall, so I knew about the team, but then when we had a club fair in the fall, I literally didn't I knew we had a Roadmaster team, but I couldn't find it. And so I had to walk around the fair like 6 times before I gave up, and I asked like one of the
Max
people
got
there, and they're like,
baited.
"Hey, where?"
He came to
And
Purdue
so I
for the
was like,
team, and then the team dissolved when Max got there. He got straight up
and so
baited
and so
into Purdue.
I went around, and so I went around, and so I talked to the student government. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're listed. The Robomaster was listed, but it wasn't active." And so I had to
Max,
go
let
out
me
of my
tell
way
you
to
a story
find.
about that. So we were prepared. We were prepared to go to the fair, but then Evan ghosted me because he was too busy with his master stuff. So we
Yeah,
never
Fair.
went.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
first year
Okay,
for
okay.
my
So
And at
so
graduate.
that time, it's
so
just
so
only me and
it was
Evan.
okay. So it was really funny was so I emailed the advisor that was listed on the website, and he didn't even respond. He was just like two days later, he was like, "Hey, just talk to this guy," and then he sends me an email to Evan, and I'm like, "All right, cool." And then Evan has like his number in it, and he's just like, "We're reorganizing." So I thought like, "Oh, maybe there's like 15 people or something like that." I
You,
show up,
you
and
know
it's
what?
just Evan. And
You,
that
you
show
know,
and it's like a and then Evan has a Zoom meeting with me, and the first thing I see was like a cat, like that's where the cat comes in. It's just like it was just Evan's cat on the keyboard, and then Evan, and I was like, "What's this?" And then that's like how I met Evan, and Evan. I can't remember what the details of our first meeting, but what did you, other than telling me that the team fell apart, what did you exactly tell me to do?
at that time, I was informed we will have North American region. So that's why I was willing to meet you and then reform our team. Yeah,
Okay.
since we had a chance to compete in North America, we
Yeah.
don't need to bring the robots to
Yep.
China. That will be much easier for
Yep.
us.
It has
Yeah, that
made
was
RoboMasters
yeah,
so accessible for
yes,
NA.
And it's
yeah, of
And
course.
apparently it all started with Evan. So friggin' there we go, Evan.
Evan is the godfather of NA.
Evan.
Yeah. Heck yeah, heck yeah. So we've got some more pictures to show y'all. So this is kind of the story they're talking about. The old team was huge. This is the team I met in China. And then it dropped down. You've got some of the three of the surviving
That's
members
that's
there.
that's that's
That's
that's us in
updated.
spring.
There
That's
we
okay.
go.
So then what happened was, to answer the poor Steven's question. So what happened was the three of us reformed, and Evan said this was going to be our call out meeting was this day, but he didn't tell me what. He just told me that we were having a call out event, but I didn't know what exactly was going on. I didn't know that if we were gonna just host multiple call out like recruitment events, or what was going on. So I just implied that, like, well, any club needs members. So I went around and I talked to 200 at least to 400 freshmen or sophomores or junior, anybody that has a STEM major and was two legs and was in a 5 meter radius of me, had talked to me. And now in the picture that we have like around 40 to 50 people in our team, I think, active
Sick.
members. And so it
Yeah,
was it
I
was
would say
it was a
that
lot of.
Max
It's
is
amazing.
absolutely critical to our team's explosive growth. I would say call it.
He
Because
helped us
he
recruit
basically
many.
talks to every single person he sees at the event or in his class or somewhere just randomly in the library, and basically just advertising to every single person he met.
Every
And that's how we
RoboMasters
grew.
team needs a max.
You're sitting down, you're doing your DiffyQ homework in the library, and Max slides a chair next to you and says, "You ever heard about RoboMasters?"
Okay, I was not okay. What's funny is that I was not that creepy, but the gist of it was right. Like I did talk to every single living soul that was a STEM major, and I didn't care what they were, like man, woman, child, cat, two-legged, three-legged, on a wheelchair. I didn't care, and so I just talked to everybody. But the thing is, it was like, but I didn't say it. I wasn't like slides in to a group of people. I was like, "Hey, you want to join RoboMasters?" It was kind of more like it seemed casual at the time because it was the beginning of the school year, and I was just like, "Hey, look, what major are you? Are you interested in robotics?" And then you start pitching, and
Yeah.
then if they buy it, if they take the bait, they take the bait, and then
Oh,
our mechanical team lead is actually, I recruited him 5 minutes before my chemistry test. I was like, "Hey, you a mechanical engineer?" And I just and he just like, "Hey, talk to me after the exam." I just dragged the poor guy over here, and so yeah, it's everybody in our current team has at least knows one person, and that's me. And so that's like it was really really funny. But
Yeah, that's real.
I think, yeah,
Steven
at
is
least
asking.
the other two can vouch for me in terms of like the number of people I've talked to.
Steven, I believe in the NA community. I'll bet in the next 23 minutes there will be a meme of Max recruiting in the chat. We'll see what happens.
Jeremy,
But,
I know you're.
Jeremy has some legendary memeing skills. No, it is so good though. And Max, that's a critical role on every team. That's kind of the role that I played in our transition from being a tiny team to a larger team. And luckily,
Look, I'm not as good as Evan and like the previous founding members in terms of like technical skills, but then all I can do is talk.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
it obviously
it's an
did
important
something.
part.
It definitely did something.
Definitely.
Yeah,
important
I
part.
think this connected back to you where you said that managerial skills are also important, but sometimes lacking in people who have technical skills. We have Max to cover our butt for that.
Yeah, he
Hey,
helped us
chat,
to
if you're
use
going
the
to make
Connect our
memes, don't
members.
you leave the stream to make a meme. Just open a new tab, my guy. Don't you do that thing. Yeah, no, it is. The managerial skills are so important. Our team has begged on hands and knees to get more business major types on the operations and financial side of the team, especially while we've been hosting and competing. Just the amount of logistics that we're trying to juggle has been critical. But what a cool story. So, chat, this is one of the big reasons that we wanted to bring Purdue on. They contacted us and said, hey, we've got this really cool story. We talked to them for a little bit. Because, frankly, we don't have time to interview every team before the competition. Hopefully, we'll continue kind of intermediary content between competitions in the next couple of years. But this year, we just don't have the number of weeks before comp to talk to every team. So we were trying to talk to the new teams. We're going to talk to the international teams. Purdue hit us up, and when Nathaniel contacted me and said, hey, Purdue really wants an interview, I was like, I saw Purdue in China. Like, yeah, we could probably talk to them, but, I mean, they're just going to get on here and flex on everybody. But this is a cool story. This is a reality of what it was like to be a hands-on organization through COVID.
Yeah, and especially now. So like I've been watching y'all's social media over the last couple of months, and I guess I want us to walk through that. So you've had how many meetings have you had thus far since the revival of the team? Because like you guys are, I want to say you're new, but like
those are pictures of the first meeting in February.
In February.
So you guys started meeting in February.
So your team,
Yes.
you have like spring before the competition. This isn't like a full year.
Look, our Discord chat was our team meetings were 3 of us in an empty Discord empty Discord server for the entirety of last semester until February, and that's when we started having legitimately sized meetings.
All right, so history established. Let's talk about the future. You've got RMUL coming up. You've talked a lot about the AI competition. Are y'all competing in RMUA this year?
So we're not competing in the AI competition.
Okay.
But it would be some sort of a fun project maybe for someone's senior design project. Right now, it's not in our timeline. So our timeline right now is, for this semester, we are going to focus mainly on teaching the freshmen who just joined this semester.
Yep.
And we are going to compete in the 1v1 standard competition.
Okay.
It's called.
Yeah, we only registered for 1v1.
Okay.
So
Definitely,
since we need to just keep the steps slowly to make sure all of our members can learn everything, can understand all the code, all the CAD, all the algorithm from our previous members.
I think that's I think that's honestly a great idea, especially with as many new members as you said that you had, and that Max talked to every living soul on Purdue's campus that has anything to do with STEM. Getting caught up with DJI products and the code is definitely a big step there.
That's the part where I feel like I'm a little lacking, because it's like I'm a freshman, so my knowledge of the technical knowledge is very severely lacking. But the major contribution, at least I've been able to identify, is just the managerial level. But then I'm trying to invest more time, so at least when I graduate, I can say, hey, look, I worked on this part of the robot myself. So like it wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, that's something that's a personal goal, but that's like kind of the state of all things right now.
That's one of the hardest parts, especially with having to deal with. You're not always taught these things of how to think about different parts of a robot. Like I'm helping wire and am now learning board schematics for PCBs for stuff that I probably will not get taught in my degree, or if I will, I don't know if I'll absorb it. And this is a great way to do it.
I will add to that and say that like this also is my first time recruiting people. And my first like I was in high school I did robotics, but it was really like a solo thing. It was like a two-person team. So I but it was just me building it. So it was I never worked in a large. I went from never having held a leadership position to being thrown into like to being Evan allowing me. Literally Evan was like, when I first met Evan, he was like, you seem like the type to be a project manager, like you seem very extroverted. And then he said, I thought it was just a joke. He just said like you seem to fit this role really well. I really wanted a role like that, but then he was like to keep the spirits up of the team up and then stuff like that. And I didn't really take him seriously until like 2 weeks later. We were working on the website, and then he was like, "Hey, throw your picture up there." And then I'm like, "Where?" And he's just like, "Under project manager." And I'm like, there. And then that's the how it became the
Man,
improv. Yeah.
my
I
chair is
was
making me look
I would
short.
say I would say though like I'm like I tell people that I'm the project manager in training because it's like because I think Evan's the acting project manager technically, but I'm just like shadowing him. I'm doing all the scut work and like the important scut work and kind of like I just listen and I kind of follow along. Evan has like last week I think I was trying to like recruit someone and then Evan was just like, Max, you got a chem exam. I'm gonna kill you if you better really start studying. And I'm like, okay. It's just I think Evan cares a lot about our team, and he cares a lot about me. Like Evan's like
Yes.
kind of that old like Evan's the kind of that I'm the oldest one in my family, but Evan's kind of like that older brother figure that I never really got to like have. And so I think like he's and having these two guys as essentially like my brothers is really nice to really nice experience to have. Like I'm definitely gonna be this is definitely one of the best years I'm gonna have
Yeah,
in my
since
college.
we made many mistakes before, so right now Max and Louis is trying to help me to avoid those mistakes will happen again in the future. So we right now, yeah, in the May we will go to a competition in Iraq and in ICRA, and then after that we'll go to
So you're going to
our
ICRA. Okay, cool.
yeah we'll go to the ICRA with
Nice.
our old robot.
So
Yeah, so okay, will AM go to the ICRA?
I don't know if we're slated to go to ICRA right now. Partially because of we don't think we are, or we are.
I don't think we
I
are.
don't think we are. Partially because we are already stretched thin, having to deal with hosting for RMUL. This
Also hosting a combat robotics event in May as well.
combat robotics.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Doing a bunch
You,
of
you have your own competition filming.
yeah, we'll be hosting. So it's a complicated mess. A&M is doing some
Okay.
crazy things this year. But yeah, the long story short is A&M's RoboMasters team now also like kind of has a combat robotics leg.
Okay.
That's like hosting events and things. So
Yeah,
we'll see how
yeah.
it goes.
Max also proposed this very similar idea as you guys did. So he proposed a Purdue Robotics Alliance, right? Max?
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are
Yes,
trying
so
to build this
I got
alliance.
I got I got together the other club leaders. I went around and I talked. Because right now we're in the robotics lab. So a few Fridays ago, I was hanging out here, and then one of the Vex team leaders talked to me, and he was like, "Hey, how about we collaborate on getting more lab space and stuff?" And I thought about it. I was like, "Shit, I can talk to everybody." And then so I went around. I just like lived in the lab for the next few days, and I met the club leaders of all the other teams on campus, and then we got them together, and then we organized the hub and then like and they all were very on board with the idea of having some kind of robotics community and network. And so I think I was really the one like I was just coordinating everybody, but I think everybody ended up meeting our team. And then one of the guys was like, wait, so you're the guy who brought brought the team back. And then it was like because he was at one of our meetings, but he was not in our meeting, but we were, because we had 40 in the pictures, there were like 40 people. And then like he was just sitting there on the side. He's just looking at us like, "What's this going on? Like, why is there a sudden influx of people at this like robotics lab?" And so it was really it was a nice surprise because like a lot of times the community like you said like today we had a lot of those experiences where like you met Evan, and then for me it's just kind of like people. Yesterday I was at a boba shop and someone was like, "Oh yeah, have you heard of this Robotics Alliance thing?" And then she showed me the Discord Alliance, and I thought about it. I was like, "Wait, is that the one that like I started?" And
Wait,
then
did I do
and then
that?
he showed me the logo, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the one who started." It was like, and then so, but he didn't realize that I was the person who like met like Micah, the Vex team leader, and then
All right,
Raghava
two
and
two
some of
funny
the others.
related stories. So one, A&M has and I think I could say all of this now because I'm slightly distanced from the A&M team. But here we go. Everyone already knows, okay? It's public knowledge. So A&M has mixed results with collaborating with other robotics groups. So when we started, we did collaborate with another robotics team. Turtle Team Robotics at A&M built our hero robot. Vomsi, one of my favorite founding members
Vomsi,
of
the
A&M. They built the hero for us. It was great. We gave them some money. It was a wonderful collaboration.
Do you guys share the lab space with them, or you guys
No,
have separate?
we had no lab
space?
space. That was our first
You
year.
have no lab
We
space?
literally had no lab space. It was terrible.
Oh, so
it
do you
was
build
the
your
worst.
robot? in your
Vomsi
garage?
and I built robots at the church I was going to in the summer. I was like, hey, can we use a table here? And they said sure. And so we went to the student center of that church and did our soldering in there. It was a mess.
Oh my
Fast
gosh.
forward, okay, then we become really cool. That next year, we had over 400 applications to join our team. So we had to say no to 300 people that applied, okay? So I'm at an event, and our VEX team is there at this recruiting event, and their president comes over, and he's like, hey, I'm the president of A&M's VEX University team. I applied to you guys last year, but you rejected me. And he was like, I think you did my interview. And I'm like, well, sorry, dude. It was super awkward.
Collaboration can get a little awkward with other teams. Yeah.
But, so I'm glad that you guys have found such a happy and healthy way to interact with all of the other robotics teams at Purdue. It is a great way to go.
Yeah, we are trying to
Yeah.
to propose more the collaboration project with our other robotics lab or robotics club. So probably in the future we will show our works to you guys.
It's a great way to do it. And any of the new teams that are... Sorry, go ahead.
If you're wondering why we need lab space collaboration, you can take a look at one of our photos, and it is basically just our lab space, but it is so tiny. There's no way that we are going to develop 3 robots in this tiny little.
They do
space.
look relatively cramped for sure. The computer space is maxed out.
So-
There's
No,
place for robots.
that's the meeting space upstairs. We're talking about the one in the underground, in the same facility, but it's in the
Oh, okay.
basement. Do you have
Yeah,
the?
this.
Yeah, it's
so
you
it-
can pull the picture of.
If you have the picture up, you can see that from the red screen on the left side and the yellow boxes to the right side. Those are not our space. Those are other people's space.
I gotcha. Very cool. Yeah. Finding space is definitely one of the hardest parts of the teams.
Yeah.
What I was going to say about the collaboration, for the newer teams, it's one way to get your funding, your space, your robots done. You can kind of do what we did, where you farm out your robots. So you can find a robotics team that already exists and just say, hey, can you guys build this robot? These are the specifications. We'll share funding or something. You can give them X amount of dollars and expect them to put X amount in. And then, talk about recognition and things. But we did that with Turtle Team. There's been some talks. This is not spoilers. This is not confirmations. Please, no one on A&M's team freak out. It's not a thing. But A&M did approach us about turning one of our robots into a senior design project. So that
that's
way,
good.
the A&M would pay for it, and so our seniors would build one robot, our team would build a bunch of robots, and the Turtle would build a robot.
Yeah.
And so as you're growing, right, because this year Purdue's building one robot, as I'm sure Evan can attest, scaling up to 7 robots is a lot. You need a ton of space, you need a ton of money, you need a ton of members. And so,
Totally agree.
yeah, and so finding a way to spread the load in your university is pretty cool. Or between universities. Dude, when we get Japan on here, we'll have to talk about that. Because Japan is actually a collaborative team between 3 or 4 Japanese universities.
Fukuoka, Nawaka specifically, yeah.
Nawaka, yeah. What a team they
Yeah.
are, too. Crazy.
Yeah,
So,
one suggestion for new team is try to build a connection with departments like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering.
Yeah.
They have many connections with companies around school. We made 3 connections with our sponsors in the previous year just from the help from the department. That was very helpful.
You can see my back of my shirt. This is the old T-shirt, but I believe you. Can you guys see?
Yeah,
we can see the sponsors
we can
on it.
see
Yeah.
it.
We have John Deere. We have
Arconic.
It was Purdue Engineering Student Council. We have
Handimark, okay.
Arcon, which is a local, I think, industrial company,
Yeah.
and
Andy Mark.
I can't.
Andy Mark's
Yeah,
the big
Andy
one.
Mark. Yeah, John Deere, Arconic, Andy Mark are 3 companies around Purdue. Just mechanical engineering department helped us to make the connection with them, and we received the funding from them.
You heard it here
That's
first. You heard it here
Yeah.
first, chat, and you definitely won't be the last time.
Someone clip it. Look, if you're on a team, I'm 100% serious. You clip the last 30 seconds and send it to your marketing team leads.
Talk to your department heads, or maybe not the.
You,
Yeah,
you have to find good marketing people. You have to find more good marketing people because like a lot of the engineers just don't want to talk to people.
Yeah,
Like
so
that's just a
decide.
core problem.
Just ask help from
Shout out to-
department.
Shout out
They
to all
will
my
definitely
engineers
help.
out there with social anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Evan, like I think Lewis told me the story. When we were at a dinner. He was like, the former president used to be an extrovert. When I met Evan, he was like, you're a lot like Kevin, like his friend, the guy who designed all the PCB boards, and he was actually here virtually teaching our electrical team what the boards were, and we're like, I met him for the first time, and I started talking to him, and I think he messaged Evan saying, "This guy talks way more than I do." Like, but he's like the extrovert, and so it was really funny to see that interaction go on. So I think I used to think it's a fault of mine, but like I think when utilized properly, it allows you to. Like I can really give like a marketing speech 500 times, and I really don't care. Like I think by the end of the spring club fair, the only thing that was stopping me from continuing was like the fact that my throat was actually gonna like die, and so I hit my physical limit.
We're aware.
Yeah, so we always need to stop Max talking. So we need to interrupt him, otherwise he will keep talking.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, very cool. All right, chat. We've got. Oh, look at this. How do you expect to talk to each?
Don't even touch grass, Jeremy.
The grass is scary. Okay.
Grass is scary.
It has stickers sometimes. You know, it's rough out there.
So-
Allergies. Chat. We have about 5 minutes left. So while Nathaniel is saying this next thing that he's about to say, any questions that you have for the Purdue team, it can be about their team this year, their team in the past, their team in the future, whether next year they're going to compete in the AI competition, whether they're going to have a balancing standard that's completely autonomous and also like is Swerve with only 2 wheels. Who knows? You can ask whatever you want. Throw it in the chat, ask your questions. Go ahead.
So I gotta ask. So you guys went to 2019 with what was that? 6 robots?
Yeah,
6
full
robots.
squad. Full squad.
Thanos snapped times 3. I don't know. There was basically none of you left. You come back. You have your underground-ish storage area. How much of your original hardware do you still have? And are you like what? Where did you guys have to start with relearning all of the hardware and I guess like what resources? Trying to go through the code base. I remember I think I actually ended up sending y'all your CAD because for whatever reason I had Purdue CAD back in 2018.
Nathaniel was the person who sent it to me, by the way, Evan, because so he's kind enough to reach out.
That was the CAD I sent it to Zemo before, and then you send it back to me.
Yeah, because Vomsi
Full circle.
Vomsi told me that Zemo gave it to him. It was like, yeah, we have this for like reference. Purdue handed it over. Like, all right, so I searched.
Hey, we
through it back
appreciated
then.
that.
It helped.
It was very helpful.
And then Max reaches out to me and I'm like, Max, what if I told you I had your CAD? Question mark. So I sent it back to him. And so like the,
And
Like I
and
have
I
a
went-
similar
and then-
story.
and then I went up to Lewis. I went up to the Evan. I'm like, hey, this guy has our CAD files. Is that a problem? And I have no context of what happened between Nathan's generation and Preston's generation. Like I have no idea what's the past. Because when I joined the team, basically all the members, I'm like, because right now I'm the oldest new member. So but only by a few months. So I have no idea what happened between Lewis and Evan. So that's just I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
Anyways.
so
I actually have a similar story. Like, so our data set, our computer vision team data set, we have like a labeled data set of around 10K images.
10,000
And-
images for your data set?
Yeah,
Hand labels?
yeah, we hand labeled. our
Hey,
previous
stick it
team
in the
paid
drive, buddy.
Alibaba.
Send it on over.
Yeah, so actually
We are open source
actually,
those things data.
yeah,
so
we
did
shared
the
our
cover.
data set. So we shared our data set with UIUC,
Okay.
and they shared what they had. And when we were restarting the team, we don't have the data set backed up, so we don't have the data set.
Oh,
So
no.
I actually have to reach out to UIUC, and they luckily still have our data set. So that is actually like a surprising factor of collaboration. That
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm glad that someone still has your data set because
So-
that would be painful to try.
Are these the CAD in question? Are these the old? This is the old CAD, right, on the screen?
Yeah, those was the CAD for 2019.
Yeah.
They
So
are
I,
identical with the
Evan,
robot.
at some point, you and I were standing within the same 3 square feet of each other. Your hero was very memorable. This is the one, Nathaniel, that I've talked about several times that has like the Ferris wheel on the back that like picks them up off a slant, just scoops it, and just carries it till it falls into the hole, and then that's how
and then
it
dropped
loads.
down in. Yep.
Because that was
Yes.
the biggest issue that our team had that year was.
It
That's
had-
still a running meme in A&M of the pipe gang. and
pipe
how,
gang,
how hard
yes.
it was. Yeah, the Slinky gang. They tried everything to. Anyway, we don't need to talk about our failures. But your hero had a very unique loading mechanism. I came and looked at your little square, in the prep fields of 2019. So we've got a couple questions coming in from the chat. You've already answered how many team members you're bringing this year. So we've got Steven wants to know, what are your goals for RMUL? I'll kind of maybe make that more specific. What are your goals this year? And then what do you hope for next year? So in the next 2 years, what do you want it to look like now? What do you want it to look like later?
So I will say, this year we just want to make sure we can successfully pass the technical check and then attend the competition.
we don't have a lot of expectations.
That's an experienced
Yeah.
man right there.
That is it.
That
Yeah.
Evan, that's the
Our goal
phrase.
for this year.
Passing the
Our
technical
goal for this
challenge.
year is mostly just focus on teaching the freshmen and the sophomores so that they know enough that when Evan is gone and when I am gone, they can still compete fairly
Yeah.
competitively.
Yeah.
In the future, like for next year, we are aiming high.
Yes.
We want to win the competition, but honestly, there's a lot of
That's
Yeah.
definitely
That's a
there's
high.
Utah,
I'm hyped.
there's Utah,
I'm hyped.
and there's you guys.
That's doable. And don't leave VT off that list. They're gonna
Yeah.
get you.
University of Washington, they are so strong. So.
UW is strong.
scary.
VT
They
is
look
strong.
scary.
We've got some of the Canadian teams coming back this year,
Queens.
I think, which should be real strong. Like,
I was rewatching
Ooh.
some old footage and I
Mhm.
forgot that Queens actually beat Fukuoka Nawaka
yup.
in a match. Like,
I don't know if they
Yeah.
have a story like y'all, so maybe Queens will show up with one robot and be like, I don't know, we're new again, but they've got a history. I mean, like y'all have a history. If we didn't have this interview, Purdue shows up, my expectations are up there. Just because I've seen y'all before, I've seen your robots in China, I've seen Queens in China, I've seen McMaster, so that's super cool. Swerve Century. Steven's now trolling in the chat.
control a day in his life.
But those are great goals, right? I think Evan hit the nail on the head for this year. The technical assessment is like a must. Really killed us our first year.
Y'all have me kind of excited about your computer vision capabilities, just because you had how much I've heard y'all talking about your own machine learning algorithms and how much I guess you're going to try and rebuild your data set. You already have previous code from trying to do your.
So you don't have to share, but
don't
if you
share.
would like to, this year you're competing in the 1v1. Are you going to be CV capable? Is your goal to be CV capable this year, or are you training with data sets for next year?
I think we already is CV capable from
Right.
2019,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's a problem I just want to discuss with you guys, or probably in future during you guys do the interview, you can ask from other teams. We had a big problem about the control algorithm of those robots.
Our man Sig
those-
just hopped in the chat, Evan, the main embedded team lead for A&M. So
Yeah.
explain your problem. Nathaniel and I are going to be useless, but we'll listen.
Yeah, so actually, this is how to let the undergrad students to study to get to our control code. Since our control board is based on STM32, from Purdue, they did not study any this or C++ programming or STM32, the embedded system. They don't know how to code. And then this STM32, we are using KL5, right? So it includes everything. It's very low level code.
Right.
It's very difficult for them to start with.
So that's a great question.
Code.
Sid, in the chat, shoot a reply, or anyone else. If you've had a leadership role or a teaching role in the software side of things, I think the heart of Evan's question is, how do you get the freshmen and the sophomores involved when their university studies might not prepare them for that level of control coding?
I just want to propose to help. Just let me finish this. So I just during this summer, Purdue's team, we are trying to summarize some videos or some manuals from some Chinese team. Just try to translate them and then to post some studying manual about KL5, about STM32, help the team to start with the control algorithm.
Okay.
I checked the website, the open source code from University of Washington. Those things are too complicated for our new members. So I would say, how about we collaborate together to write something or introduction things about the KL5, about the introducing code, right? To help all the North American team to write the control code for their robots.
That definitely has some value potential, and I'd encourage you to put that in the NA Discord.
There are still several teams that work with KL5, because I know we have teams that have either made their own control boards and have moved away from the DJI boards, or they've switched to Taproot, the open source library that we're using, UW, us, or they're still using KL5. So I bet if you reach out in the North American server, I'm sure there's some other teams that also need to do that same.
Chat is responding positively. There's lots of people saying yes, please help, share, please. So if chat, be looking out for that message in that Discord. I'm sure setting up like a GitHub repository or a Discord or even a Google Drive or something in the future should come. Would definitely be a helpful tool for the future teams, for our current teams.
If I could just add to that,
sure.
To Evan's point, which is, as someone who's part of the, I'm not very well versed in the technical end of things, but at least from someone who has done a lot of the managerial stuff this year, even just dipping my toes in it for a few months this year, from what I can really tell is, how do you get someone's interest? Now, you need to be able to tell if you're a new team starting out, you need to be able to approach other people. It doesn't have to be like one guy like me going around to talk to 400 people. It can be like 5-10 guys from your own team and talking to their close friends, and then being able to say, look, this is what our team can offer you. And then because here's the thing, like what happened was, because again, I did talk to a lot of people, but I do want to give credit to Evan and Lewis's work, because the things that I've said, and all I did was get people's attention. So like I dragged them to the meetings, but what kept them in our team was the actual like kind of solid foundational stuff that actually like would captivate people's like relative interest, whether it's like you're a mechanical person, you're an electrical person, and then on top of that, if it's like, for example, if you're doing if it's freshmen, right, you need to, for one thing that a lot of the clubs on our campus are doing that are not necessarily related to RoboMasters is that we're building a Wikipedia page for our own team. So like, for example, like YOLO V5 and, things like, mechanical design, or maybe certain like software tutorials that can be very helpful for like future members and future future teams. And so I think that's like just knowing your platforms of communication, I feel like is if something that I could share for helping to foster new teams. These are very important things. Like you do need a good business team lead. You do need someone who's like, don't just think like, oh yeah, maybe we're building robots, we don't value our business people. Because one thing that I have experienced is the fact that the business people take care of the stuff that you might not be very important, but when you need it, you need it. And so things like money and funding, right? It's like when you need the money, you need the money.
Having money,
but it's not something that.
Can confirm. Having money is wonderful.
Lewis, I have a question about your CV. So I'm hyped to hear that it's going to happen in 1v1, because I think, and Nathaniel, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think last year 0 teams in 1v1 used computer vision. There was some computer vision happening in the 3v3 field, but last year UW and VT didn't compete. We had working CV, but not on our standard. So I don't think any of the teams last year used it in the 1v1. So I'm hyped to see how that goes. My question for you, is that right? Do you agree?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember if UCSD had it.
Don't get your hopes up.
Hi, my hopes are up. You said it's there. So, Lewis, my question is, which camera did y'all go with? There's been some drama in the A&M and just in the RoboMasters community with Intel and discontinuing certain products.
That got depreciated. We're good. But yeah.
What are y'all using?
So we are using the Intel's RealSense.
Okay, cool.
I think it's
D435i.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that one.
There you go.
See?
Yeah, so our previously developed algorithm by William, who was our CV team lead. He did all of the calibration. All of the codes are used for that specific type of camera. The depth sensor functionality just adds a lot of options that we can use.
Depth data is huge.
Yeah, I think that's the same camera that we used last year.
And it's the same camera we used this year.
So, that's
Yeah.
good stuff. Cool. I was just curious. I mean, Sid's hyped in the chat. I'm hyped in person to hear 1v1 CV is coming to town. A&M, we've been talking about maybe the standard needs it, maybe it doesn't. Sounds like,
Hey, I've been wiring it today for CV.
Yeah, no, I'm hyped.
It
I'm
better
hyped.
get
It better
CV.
get it this year. It had the wires there technically last year, but it was a mess.
So I would actually, in terms of the CV stuff, I would actually say that the easier part is the model. Like detecting the armor plate is the easiest component in the entire CV algorithm.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you have to get to stuff such as gamma filter. You have to predict the movement of the armor plate, and you have to do some sort of like coordinate transformation, like put the coordinates in terms of the camera,
Yep.
photo, XYZ, and then turn it into like a chassis or a gimbal coordinates,
Yep.
and then do prediction based on that. That is very math heavy, and usually people wouldn't want to get into that, but it is actually
that's high level
the
math
deciding
heavy.
factor.
At least for mechanical engineering, I didn't address that till the senior year of my program. Senior year of my program, I took a robotics course and like 3-dimensional dynamics courses, and then I was in a place where we were doing, moving parts with reference frames to moving reference frames and all of these rotational and translational things that you have to start to consider when you're moving and the target's moving and you need to fire a moving projectile to hit a moving part on a moving robot. It's a mess,
Yeah.
right? You don't have a global reference frame anymore, especially if you're doing spin to win. It gets real convoluted, and so that all leads back to Evan's point. I mean, it is one large problem, right? Where you're like, okay, it is very math intensive, and that math is hard to get freshmen involved in because they don't have the technical background, and so then
They're still
building
taking
the
calculus
team.
1. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Building the team that's able to grind that out and work on that has been an interesting thing. It looks like we've got some good collaboration happening in the chat, which is great. We're going to wrap this up pretty soon, chat. Thank you for all of the great interaction tonight. It's been wonderful. Evan, Max, Lewis, thank you so much for being here. If there's any last-minute questions from the chat, we'll take them. Max, Lewis, Evan, if there's anything, we'll give a couple minutes to y'all. If there's just anything you want to say or you want to impress upon the chunk of people that'll watch this, go ahead.
If you want to flex on all of Arm and A.
Oh no, I don't feel like we should flex, but I feel like I really hope that there are more teams coming that would join this community, because seeing this because I think the thing that differentiates us from sports is the fact that we're all engineered at the end of the day, and so solving the problem is the first victory, winning is the second one, and I feel like we should help each other solve the first problem first, and then the second one is just for the fun, right? So I think that's like the culture. I feel like that's the one I'm trying to establish within my team. So I hope other team leaders are hearing this and also can do that within their teams, because I think one big thing is I've in the past I've competed against toxic teams, and that's not a pleasure. And because like at the end of the day, one of the best parts of doing robotics in high school is being able to go to a competition and meeting you guys, right? And being like, hey, like these are the guys I ran into last year. Like I know this guy.
Yeah.
These guys have like a good robot. I love the guy from that like a North American this specific team and that leader from that team. Like it's like things like that that would really it would go a long way, I would say. But I mean, but we do want to. But I think for our team at least, I did set the fact that like we will try to win in the coming years. So I will before I graduate, I do want to I want to give it a shot. I would say be able to go to
We're
China,
coming
maybe
for
compete.
you.
We're coming for you.
Clip that.
So I
Clip
mean,
that.
so we
We're
will.
coming for you.
We will do keep us on your radar though.
Definitely
That's
will.
all I will say.
I'm glad to see y'all coming back swinging and swinging hard, especially. I mean,
But it's my first time meeting all of you though, because again, so if you if you know some people on our past team, I will not know them. So I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you this year.
yeah. Well, we'll see some of y'all in 2 months.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
for
for
having
having
us
us.
today.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Evan. Thanks so much, Lewis. Have a good night. All right, chat. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been great. Thank you for all the chat involvement. It's been a lot of fun to take y'all's questions to these interviews as well.
What a great story from them. I was
yeah.
not expecting that. Honestly.
Phenomenal.
That was great.
Couple last minute reminders as we go. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We've got a bunch of teams coming up. Share these. If you want your school to be interviewed, shoot us a message. In Discord, you can either hit up Nathaniel or me in the RMNA Discord. Thanks for the sub, Ikanara. Those are appreciated. If you're curious, because it's important that this is clear, any subs or bits or any financial money that comes into this account right now all goes back into RMNA. It goes to Yibo, and then Yibo distributes that money into the competition hosting or into public, I don't know, ads for the competition
it's
or whatever.
community-wise,
It
yeah.
goes into RMNA. It doesn't come to me. It doesn't come to Nathaniel. It doesn't come to A&M.
We get none of it.
So, that's cool. But just if you're curious. So thanks so much, Ikanara. We do appreciate it. It helps build the the RoboMasters North American community. So next week is RHIT. The week after that, we'll see. Maybe it's
We're still working on
RMUL.
it. Definitely.
Maybe it's Japan. Maybe it's Italy. Maybe it's A&M about hosting. Let us know if there's something you want to see. If you want us to talk about going to China. If you want to get like me and Evan, maybe we'll pull some old A&M alums into the chat and do an interview about what it was like traveling to China. There's a lot of intricacies there.
Yeah.
And it's very different for Chinese nationals that are here as international students. It's different for American citizens that are going to China. It's different for international students who are citizens of other countries going to China. So we could get a pretty diverse group and talk about that. If y'all want, just shoot us a message in Discord or put it in the chat in one of our streams.
Jeremy, we'll get Sam on. Don't worry. We'll get him on. We'll try and get him on next week. Yeah.
All right. I think that's it from us. Thank y'all so much for joining. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to watch the competition. Get hyped for June 24th through the 28th. And if something came up in this, like all the software stuff, all the marketing stuff that someone on your team needs to see, you can watch this video on demand on Twitch. I'll be putting it up on YouTube in the next couple weeks, but you will be able to watch it for the next 15 days, I think, on our Twitch page. You can just watch any of it, clip it, whatever. So have a good night, y'all. Thanks so much.
Have a good night.